All right. So, how are you guys? How is everybody? Hey, Greg.
Hey, Wardell.
That's my boy right there. How you doing, Greg?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Bless, 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 bless. Hello to all the listeners around the world. We love all you guys and we appreciate you so much. Yeah, we're here just to have a good time with y'all and just be blessed in the show. So, uh, Greg, what's on your
Um,
heart, man? What's on your heart? What you got for us today?
we've got Lamar Webster, who was actually on the show a few weeks ago when we did the tribute to Dana Myers. Um,
Oh,
and Lamar, I'm going to push Lamar for more information when he calls in. So Lamar was very, very much aware of Dana in Dayton, Ohio, where Lamar is from.
okay.
Uh, and Lamar has Lamar's story is like he was living in this suburb full of future stars, future all living in one neighborhood. So I
Hmm.
want to get into talk a lot about that type of thing, and we're going to play some of his music as well. So we've got some of his music, which is really good. So hopefully it'll be a great interview when he calls in.
Wow. Oh man, I got some wild stuff going on in here. Man, I'm excited about what you're getting ready to do. I look forward to your interview with Lamar. And in the meantime, I just want to give a shout out to all our listeners around the world. What's up,
Yeah.
everybody? How is everybody? How are you guys? We love you and appreciate you here at Solar Records Radio. And we're just praying that everybody's good. So I want to play another song, and then we'll be back shortly because I got to figure out what this noise is. What is this noise in my background? We'll be right back.
Easy thinking she was seen like it's a subject that we just started talking about. I'm going public with this love now. All of a sudden, you just wanna turn it all down. Looking for what you know's already there. You know you're stalling, playing fool to buy some time that you already spent. I wanna see us free to fix this thing, or leave it hanging by your friend that keeps us tied to what we feel the most inside. Why so serious? Playing games with my emotions. She said, why so serious? Playing games with this devotion. Why so serious? Playing games with my emotions. She said, why so serious? Playing games with this devotion. Girl, I know you just ain't serious. Do we agree to keep as much as pause? Do what we want between you and me? This requires you stick through thick and thin. You don't seem like you about the line. I feel like stepping, but this ain't about the feeling. To oblige yourself by your means, babe. Forever for the time beyond my eyes. I wanna see you with this heart, but it feels like we're just growing apart. Why so serious? Playing games with my emotions. She said, why so serious?
he's got the link. No, I don't want to, because I don't want to give too much away. So, let's talk about health.
All right. So, Greg, guess what?
Guess what?
I,
Go on.
I haven't. I have to admit. Okay, I'm a whip. I'm a man. I think I'm just a typical man because I had a lot of doctor's appointments that I kept procrastinating. You hear me? I'm this is sea salt, right? This is my
Oh.
sea salt. So
Oh, okay.
I have to use sea salt because my blood pressure is too high. So
Yeah,
I
mine
had to
too.
I had to stop taking sodium and go
Oh.
to sea salt. And so then they said, so egg, so I need to take about maybe they said 4 eggs a day is really
Oh.
good for your brain health. Brain health. So
Really?
I'm like, really? So
I've not heard that.
but it's not just brain health, it's also your core. It's good for your core. It supports your core. So, here we go.
Wow.
So I got
I've never heard that before. Yeah, but you see, so I don't know what we do about my brain health because I'm allergic to eggs.
okay. So you just have to use a different option. There's other options for you, but this is my option. And so this I'm not allergic to it. I don't think so. I'm going to start doing this and try to see what's going on. So listen. So I had to go and have my dentist because I needed to get my teeth clean. I have a 6 month. Every 6 months I go in and get it. And so then, but the same day I had to go see the iron doctor. I don't like the iron doctor because any time you're dealing with the iron doctor or any kind of blood doctor, they are also a cancer doctor.
Oh, okay.
They mix together. And so I'm like, and so when I called, they're like, they're the cancer doctor. I'm like, what? I'm not going. I'm not. I was a nervous wreck, and so I said I'm not supposed to be seeing a cancer doctor. I'm supposed to be seeing an iron doctor. She goes, oh yeah. It's this. Well, they kind of mixed up, but it's just that's just the way they do it. And I go, I don't like that.
No,
That's making me uncomfortable. I
me
feel,
too.
like what the heck? So anyway, so I go and get my cleaning, my dental cleaning and stuff. And man, they were really digging deep and
Yeah, I know.
hard.
I know.
Oh, and so
It
she got,
hurts.
and she got done, and I was like, okay, well, thank you very much. And so then I left there and I went over to the hospital to see the iron doctor. And so The actual doctor's office is in the hospital. So anyway, so I go in there, and now I'm nervous. I'm like, so I did the test results. I did my blood work a week ago, and so now I'm here to hear what the results are, and so I'm nervous because I'm thinking my iron is low, and I'm
Yeah.
screwed. I'm like, I don't want my iron to be low, and so then he sits down and he says, "Well, I did, went through your blood work. Everything is great except your B12 is a little low." He says, "But your
Yeah.
iron is fine." I go, "Really?"
Oh, okay,
So I'm
that's
happy
good then.
about that. But my
Yeah.
B12, I said, "Well, what makes the B12 go?" He says, "Well, have you had any antacid situations?" I go, "Yes."
Yeah.
And so what happened is that when I was having that situation with the antacids, he said, "What you do about it?" I said, "Pepto Bismol." He
Oh,
says,
right.
"That's it, right there." And so what's happening is that the Pepto Bismol that I'm putting in my body, when it gets into your stomach, it stops your stomach from developing the B12. So the B12 is not working because the I put the Pepto Bismol in there,
Oh, okay. Right.
right? And so let me bring us here a little closer. So without the B12, I'm so that's what happened. I was taking that, and so he says, "Well, let's just be safe. I want you to go and buy B12."
Oh, okay. Oh, just in capsule form.
Yes, he
Oh,
says.
so you don't have a shot. You're not having a
No,
shot.
he says I can give you the shot.
Oh,
He,
yeah.
he says, or you can just get the pills and take the pills.
Oh,
So
okay.
you guys are my witness. I just went to the store and picked it up. So I have all you guys here. So this whole thing about the guy thing is that
Yeah.
us guys are usually so weak. There goes my B12. It's good too.
Yeah, but Wardell, if you were a real man, you would have had the shot.
No, I'm not a real man then because I don't like shots. And so that's why I couldn't do drugs. I'm like, wait, are you kidding me? You're sticking something in your
Yeah.
arm? You
Yeah.
crazy.
Same.
Same.
Yeah.
So that's the situation with my health. So B12, I'm taking B12 and I'm eating eggs.
Thanks.
4 a day, 4 a day, 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening.
So you're going to reverse the aging process, obviously.
Yes.
Well, I
Yeah.
shouldn't be scared of shots because I take 4 shots a day for insulin because I'm diabetic.
Oh.
But I'm allergic to eggs and fish, which are the 2 things that are supposed to be really good for you, but I can't have either. So,
Wow.
so do you take any other supplements apart from what
Well,
do you
yes,
take?
yes. I take a multivitamin.
Okay.
So that's just a pill with all the different vitamins in it. I
Yeah,
take
yeah, yeah.
that. Yeah, so that's it.
Well,
Yeah.
the only thing I started to take actually, to be honest, about 18 years ago, I decided to go on this health kick and I decided to take everything. You name it, I was popping the pills. And I was probably taking about 12 things a day. And I developed pain in my kidney, my right kidney.
Oh.
And because I'm diabetic, I thought, oh, don't tell me that this is going to be, kidney disease or something. So I went to the doctor, got checked out. They couldn't really find anything wrong. What my doctor asked me, he said, do you take many supplements? And I said, oh, yeah. I said, I take 12 a day. He says, oh, that's your problem. He said, if you take supplements of things that your body doesn't need, it sits in your body and goes searching for something to do. And if it can't find anything to do or anything to replace, I should probably say, then it
Mm.
attacks your kidneys. So as soon as I stopped taking all the supplements, the pain went away. But the only thing I take now, and I've taken it for about 5 years because of what my doctor told me. I went for my diabetic blood tests, and he said everything was great.
Mhm.
But he said you are abnormally low in vitamin D. Now we need to, we need to lay claim here that we're not medical people. This is just what I was told at the doctors. So he said everybody in the UK should really take vitamin D during the winter because we don't get much sunshine, because that's how you get vitamin D, through the sunshine. But he said when you're abnormally low in vitamin D, and especially being your age, that's what he said to me. I was 60. That was 5 years ago. And he said, when you're abnormally low in vitamin D, and being a diabetic as well, and being the age that I am, he said, not only does that lead you wide open to infection, but it can lead you wide open to cancer. Now, that made my eyes pop, and I'm thinking, what? I've
What?
never heard that before. And I'm not laying any claim to that. That's just what I was told. But the only thing I take now is I take vitamin D every day, but I take it with zinc, because apparently vitamin D as a supplement can't absorb into your body properly. It needs zinc to carry it. So if you look in the health store for vitamin D, lots of the tubs will say vitamin D and zinc. And that's why, because zinc carries the vitamin D.
Okay.
So that's the only thing I take now, really.
Wow. That's kind of wild, brother.
One thing I will say, speaking as a hairdresser, one thing I will say to people that I do believe in for healthy hair, and for people who've got fine, thin hair that they want thicker hair, is sea kelp. And I've seen sea kelp work on so many occasions in the last 40 years. I know it works.
Sea kelp.
Yes.
SEA.
Yes, kelp. It's a marine thing.
Okay.
And it's good for your hair, and your hair and your nails are made of keratin. It's the same thing. So if it's doing your hair good, it's doing your nails good. But over the years, I've recommended clients with thin, fine hair to take kelp, and the results have been quite noticeable.
Very good.
So I don't think you need it. I don't think Gail and Chelsea certainly doesn't. But for
Chelsea.
anybody out there that's for anybody
So-
that's got fine, thin hair, it does work.
Okay. So all right. I know that. So you were telling us the things that you can't eat.
Yeah,
So
eggs and fish.
eggs and fish. So when you go out to Thai food, like what do you order?
Well, the only thing I can't have in Thai food is egg fried rice. That's the only thing. Everything
Okay.
else I'm fine with. And
Oh.
of course I can't eat shrimps or crab or anything like that. Any seafood at all.
Oh, no seafood.
No, none at all.
Oh,
Strangely, I can eat tinned salmon and I can eat tinned tuna, but I can't eat fresh. So something must happen to it during the canning process that takes out the toxins that I can't take. So,
you sound like my ex-wife.
oh, really?
And she can't do fish at all. And this is the strangest thing. Our house, we lived on a lake, right? A man-made lake.
Oh, okay.
Right? So you go out into the backyard and there's, people with their boats and all that stuff.
Right.
Like Pamela Phillips Olan right now.
Yeah.
She lives in the same kind of community that we lived in.
Oh, okay.
And so, which I miss kind of. It'd be nice if you could have a little bit of your past. Like I could go visit my past and, but if you had good memories, right? You want to go,
Of course.
it'd be nice to be, because even my house that we sold, we go there every time we go to California.
Do you?
Yes. And it keeps going up $1 million. $1 million.
Oh, Absolutely. I
A
can just
million.
imagine.
It, um, so when we sold it, it's it's probably gone up about $4 million since we sold
Wow.
it.
Wow.
That's ridiculous.
So when did you sell that place?
About 5 years ago.
Oh, not that long ago then.
Yeah.
So did you still have that place when you moved to Texas?
Oh no, we sold it before we moved to Texas.
Oh, well, it's more
So
than 5 years then.
it's about 7 years.
7 years, yeah.
Yeah. So yes, and so the first lady that bought it from us, she was a orchestra pianist.
Oh, okay.
She's I mean, just she's Filipino,
Oh, okay.
and she lived in New York, and she wanted to be around her grandkids. That's just the natural thing. We chase our grandkids. So she got rid of her apartment in New York and came all the way to California
Wow.
and bought our house, lived on the beach. And so she is really blessed to be there. But when she sold the house, she sold it for $1.2 million more than she bought it for,
Wow. Wow.
because she ended up moving in with her daughters because she kept having accidents.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she was in a house by herself. And it was it was just a 2-bedroom master. So it was beautiful. Like, you go upstairs and it's 2 master bedrooms, both of them bathrooms, and full bathrooms, and both and a big beautiful hallway. And we had our stuff, our like computers and stuff in the hallway there. And then you come downstairs and you got a full house, living room, dining room, kitchen, and a den. And so it was laid out really nice, fireplace, all that stuff. And then you had
Sounds lovely.
and then we had the outside patio, which was wonderful, beautiful patio. And so when our friends came, they sit out on the patio, and we would take food outside, or we come inside, and it just depends on but so she had a beautiful home that she got from us. And so, but anyway, I'm just running my mouth, but it's just, it would be nice if we could revisit those beautiful,
She's still,
like,
she's not
huh?
there. She's not there anymore, though.
No, she sold it and moved back with her daughter. Not back with her daughter, but she ended up moving in with her daughter. Her daughter was actually going to buy it, and then, she just moved her mom in with her. And her mom, they didn't live too far away from us. Her and her
Could you
husband.
see the ocean?
Where the daughter lived?
No, where at your house in LA, could you see the ocean?
Oh yeah,
Oh, you could see the ocean.
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah. So, but we didn't have a clean look. So, you if you went down to a couple of other houses a little closer to the edge, then they had a clear look right at the ocean.
Yeah.
They could open up their sliding window and boom, you can see the ocean. So
Yeah.
But we had a few houses, not a few houses. It was actually the building. So they built a building on the beach, and that building was in our way. Like,
I'm selfish.
but they had to put the building there because they put bathrooms and stuff in there for the people that come, So they had they built a bathroom. So you're gonna complain? I'm sorry, I can't see the beach. You gotta move your back.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
You can't. So, but anyway, let's play some more music, and then we'll be right back and finish topping it
I'll
up.
see where Lamar is. I'll try and track Lamar down.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
On the beach down by the sea, it was like a fantasy. Island summer on my mind. I remember when we met, the
We were just a kiss away from Montego Bay. Island summer on my mind. You're even in my dreams, my Caribbean king. Island summer on my mind. One and one makes two, just like me and you. Island summer on my mind. We partied every day and danced the night away. Island summer on my mind. We were just a kiss away from Montego Bay. Island summer on my mind. You're even in my dreams, my Caribbean king. Island summer on my mind. Sweet honey wine just to relax the mind. It took us on a natural high. Coconut trees and the Jamaican breeze. It was a wonderful, beautiful, magical night. Sweet honey wine just to relax the mind. It took us on a natural high. Coconut trees and the Jamaican breeze. It was a wonderful, beautiful, magical night.
Island summer, island summer on my mind. Island summer,
On my mind, on my mind, still on my mind.
I told him earlier on not to use laptop. He says he's in the waiting room now. He's not there. Okay, I'll tell him again. Yeah, okay.
It's about 5 o'clock in the evening, y'all, and I'm ready to go home. Yeah, yeah. It's about 5 o'clock in the evening, girl, and I'm ready to go home to you.
I never thought I'd ever feel this way again. I truly believe in you. I never thought I'd ever find a love so true. You came into my life so cool.
Hold on,
Hold on,
hold on.
hold on. Was you?
Hold on,
Hold on,
hold on.
hold on. Was you?
It's about 5
Never thought I'd let you get away from me. You came into my life so cool. I didn't think that I would be the kind of fool who couldn't see the apples in your eyes.
Hold on,
Hold on,
hold on.
hold on.
Truly needed was you. Hold on,
Hold on,
hold on.
hold on.
Truly needed
Was you?
hold on,
Hold on,
hold on.
hold it on.
Truly needed
Was you?
hold on,
Hold on,
hold on.
hold it on.
Truly needed was you. It's about 5 o'clock in the evening, y'all, and I'm ready to go home. Yeah, yeah. It's about 5 o'clock in the evening, girl, and I'm ready to go home to you. Hold on,
Hold on,
hold on.
hold on.
Truly needed
Was you?
hold on,
Hold on,
hold on.
hold it on.
Truly needed
Was you?
hold on,
Hold on,
hold on.
hold
Truly
on. Was you?
Brother. Lamar Webster's in the house, Greg.
Right.
Do you see him?
No, do you?
You don't see Lamar?
No, I don't. I can only
Oh,
see. You
let me
put
see
there's a
this.
picture on there.
Let me see. Let me
Ah, there's the man.
see. Oh, let me get rid of this stuff here.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get rid of that.
Man. Hello, Mark.
What's up, guys?
What's
How are
up,
you?
brother?
Man, you know what? I got three computers. I couldn't get on none of them. I had still got to use my phone again. So I got to research on how to get the browser from blocking access to my webcam and my mic on each one. So anyway, I'm in on my phone again. So we're good to go.
We got you.
Amen, brother.
Yeah,
Long as
well,
we
I
get
just had
one.
to figure that out on my own, to figure out how to get it to unblock. It says to go to the address bar and click on the camera thing, but I don't see that. So anyway,
Okay.
I'm in finally.
So
Technology.
we got Dayton, Ohio in the house.
Yeah, I got invited another guy, Brian Timms. He's from Dayton also. He lives in Vegas. He'll be coming in shortly. And
Okay.
I'm hoping we can get Curdy Sanford in too. Curdy played with Dana with Platypus
Oh,
on the
yeah,
drums.
great. Yeah.
Mhm.
That'd be
Okay.
great. Yeah.
So I'm going to turn this over to Greg, but before I do, I wanted to just ask you about working with Reel to Reel. How did
Okay.
you get a song with Reel to Reel? How did you make that connection?
Okay.
Or did Dana make that connection?
I made the connection through Will Shelby.
Oh,
So I'm in Dayton with my group, record player. We had a 4-track machine that we were doing our demos. So a guy named Leroy Hall, he came and said, I had called him to do a track for me. And, you know, for payment, he was like, can I get some studio time, you know, at your place? And I was like, all right, cool. So one of the songs that we did was a song called Hold It Right There, which is what I sent to Greg. That was the
Yeah.
demo. And so I played on that song. I played the bass and also engineered the session. And then they didn't have no lead vocals on it, but they just had the hook. So they were saying, instead of saying love me like this, they were saying hold it right there. That was the hook for the demo. So the demo got sent to Will, and then Will ended up taking it to whoever, and then it ended up being on Reel to Reel's thing. So when I heard that copy, I was like, wow. As I talked to Greg about it, they slowed our tempo, they slowed it down a little bit, and they did a little bit something with the verse parts. But the hook parts and the arrangement was pretty much the same. And when I said that,
were you a writer on it?
Well, I the bass part that I was playing, I sort of came up with that bass part, and then the Leroy, because we knew Lakeside, we thought we would mimic their strategy of having a bass synth play along with the bass guitar. So Leroy matched what I was doing on the bass guitar, and that's how that bass part became what it became. So when it got to Reel, whoever was playing the bass, I always thought it was Leon, but somebody told me that it was some guy named Bob Smith. Oh, it was Boki. Okay.
Boki.
Was it Boki? Okay.
Yes.
So because I was telling Greg, I wasn't for sure. I didn't think that was Leon because Leon doesn't play with his thumb that much. He mostly, what I could tell, mostly with the fingers. And, you know, and if you hear my demo, you can tell that I'm playing all the way with my thumb on it, you know.
Right.
But yeah, that's how I became involved with that song.
Because I just wanted you to know, just for your own mindset, Leon wrote a lot of the songs that when we first started, and he started off with the bass, and then other people for the keyboards came into their part, guitars, and everybody that he added wasn't a writer. Like the keyboard player, it was almost like, should I put you down as a writer or not? And so he was making these decisions randomly, not with any ill intention or great intention. It was just the way it was. And so, you know, I just pray that you never felt, whether you got credit or you didn't get credit for it, like you didn't have any ill intentions, because now you don't have Dana to defend you and say, hey, well, that's my boy. Y'all should, you know, to make sure he's cool, because he was really cool with Reel to Reel and they loved him. So
right. And it wasn't, I talked to Leroy since then, a few years back, because I said, because we did that like in 82, you know, so I had a copy of it. And I told him, I said, hey, man, I found that copy of Hold It Right There, blah, 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 blah. And he said, man, you know what? He said, I should have gave you some credit on that. And I said, man, it's no big deal. As long as you got, you know, you got straight, they took care of you, you know. I said, you're good, you know.
So they took care of him?
Yeah, they took care. His name is listed. If you look at, yeah, his name is listed, Leroy Hall. His name is listed on there as a writer, you know, even though they changed the lyrics and, you know, whatever. He did get credit for it.
All right. There you go. All right, Greg, you got it.
Okay, so let's go back to the beginning, Lamar. Let's go back to the same way that Wardell's dad bought him a drum kit. Your dad bought you a bass. So where does Lamar come from?
Well, I come from a neighborhood in Dayton called Westwood, because of the elementary school that we went to, Westwood Elementary School. So that whole section, we just called it Westwood. And I had a lot of musicians that lived within 10 minutes of my neighborhood, including Marvin Craig. bass player with Lakeside, including Thomas
Yeah.
and Will Shelby,
Yeah.
including Mark Wood, including Walter Juni Morrison with the Ohio Players. So all these guys were in my neighborhood. And on the weekends, you would see guys carrying a horn case or a guitar case. So we knew, oh, somebody's playing. You know, they could go play somewhere. And then if they had a garage or a basement, then you could hear the music, you know, being played. So it was just that type of environment in Dayton where I grew up. Now, I always tell a lot of people that Dayton was like a combination of the movies Dreamgirls and the Five Heartbeats, because you had a lot of talent shows. They had talent shows at the recreation centers, at the junior high schools, and at the high schools. And just like in those movies, you know, some of the guys would pay the girls, y'all boo those other guys, but y'all cheer for us so that we could win whatever little money was in first, second, or third place. So growing up as a kid, when I became a teenager, we knew about the Ohio Players. They hadn't reached national status yet, but they were a local band playing at local clubs around town. And their first record that I remember, I think it was a song called Trespassing, which was probably 66 or 67.
Okay.
And then they had another song called Here Today, Gone Tomorrow. At that time, they had a lead singer, a guy named Dutch Robinson. So eventually they reformed the group and they decided to not have any singers, which was a key for most of us growing up, because they were the model for a self-contained band for us.
Okay.
Self-contained band means nobody sings the lead but people within the group. Or unless you had maybe a one front guy, you know, but all the music and everything came from within the group. So and then they had another thing that was real popular in Dayton called it was called the Show Wagon, which came from a government model cities program. And it was a mobile stage that just went around to different parks. And then bands could play on the little mobile stage. So the thing that was unique about Dayton growing up was we had a lot of places to play. You had the Show Wagon, you had the rec center, you had the junior and high school talent shows. And so it was just a real lively place. So when I remember that Steve Shockley had said when Lakeside first got to LA, they were sort of amazed at how the groups were out there. And he said that being in Dayton trained them to have a good show. One of the things that the Dayton groups did, they had an MC. The MC would introduce the group and do comedy or maybe sing a couple of songs here and there, and then they would bring out the group. Lakeside had a guy named John Boatwright. They called him Sugar Daddy, you know, and he was a comedian, but he was the MC. Otis Stokes was the MC for his brother's group, the Four Corners. In that group, we had Dana Myers, Floyd Weatherspoon, Arthur Stokes, his older brother, and Kerry Rutledge. But Otis went out there with them and he was their MC. So Otis would do like maybe 2 or 3 songs and then introduce them. So that was 2 components that were common with Dayton groups. One was having an MC. Number 2 was Dayton groups were known for having medleys. Because if you're on a talent show and everybody's playing a song and then they stop and, you know, they talk or whatever, and then, okay, ready, okay, 1, 2, 3. Then they do the next song, you know, and then they stop. No, Dayton groups, they put together medleys from watching James Brown, and they would do like 4 or 5 songs in a row before they even said anything to anybody. And they had choreography, they had steps and moves and the whole 9. So when Lakeside hit LA, nobody has seen a group like that because they had steps, they had choreography. They happened to have 4 singers up front, but they were a self-contained unit of the singers and the band.
Wow.
And to me, there was only a couple of bands that did that, and the other band that I can think of right now was New Birth, where they had
Oh, yeah.
three up
Yes.
three up front singers, and then you got the band, but they're all one big unit. So, so I guess what made Lakeside popular is, you know, their music, the way they put the stuff together and the structure and the melodies and what they were playing, and plus they were really talented guys, so they sounded really good. So Norman Beavers, he's a good friend of mine. He told me years ago, he said one of the first times that he went to Mavericks Flat, when he drove up in the car, he saw a line of people lining up outside on Crenshaw Boulevard. And he was like, wow, what's all these people lining up for? And then when he gets inside, they was like, yeah, those are people who's waiting to come in to see the show. So I guess word really spread real fast. And Dana had mentioned it several times in his interviews that Mavericks Flat was sort of like a hub for a lot of Black groups when they got to town. You either got to go there to see somebody or go there to try to get in there to play.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
Now, my
so
group, we went out there. I had a group later on called Record Player, and we went to LA in '83. When we arrived, we went to Mavericks Flat, but for some reason, we never got to go to the Total Experience nightclub. I don't really remember why we didn't get a chance to go up there, you know. But those were the two big Black clubs that I remember, was the Total Experience and Mavericks Flats.
Yes, Mavericks Flat particularly, I think. When did that close, Mavericks Flat?
I'm not sure, but they reopened after a certain amount of time. They reopened.
They did,
Yeah, but I don't remember exactly when it closed. But I've been to a couple of shows there. Plus, I have played there myself with a couple other bands out in there. You know, because when I left Dayton, I lived in LA for 39 years. So I was able to play out there at Mavericks Flat.
So going back to when your dad first bought you a bass, how old were you at that age when you bought you the bass?
The first time we went down to the music store, I think I was like 12 or 13. And he didn't get the bass at that time because the bass guitar was probably, I wanted a Fender something, maybe a Fender Bassman or a Fender Showman or something. That was like maybe $300 or $400. And I wanted a Fender, probably a Fender Jazz Bass or Precision. That was probably the same. So we looking at about $1,000 to be financed.
Really?
And so he was like, well, if I get this, it's not a hobby. It's not a toy. You're going to have to take lessons. And I had taught myself how to play piano and guitar a little bit. And I taught my brother how to play guitar so I could eventually switch over to bass. So I told my dad, I said, well, I'm not taking lessons, you know, and he said, well, that's part of the deal. You get the bass, you take lessons. You don't take lessons, you don't get the bass. So I just said, okay, well, don't get it. So he didn't buy it yet. So I went all through high school borrowing other guys' basses.
Oh, okay.
And then when I got 20, he co-signed for me to get a bass, but I had to make the payment.
20.
I was 20 before I finally got my own bass. Yeah.
Wow. And so eventually you bought the Fender Mustang, is that right?
Right. That was the Fender Mustang bass.
What was? Oh yeah. So why that bass? What was that giving you there?
Because when I was in the 11th grade, I was playing with a singing group called the Delvines, and I was in a band that backed them up. And the place where we were rehearsing at, the family, the Grigsby family, their older brother, J.D. Grigsby, he had a Fender Mustang, but he left it at home because he had graduated from high school and he went to junior college in Texas. So they let me borrow his bass to play in that band.
Right. Okay.
So it's a short scale bass. It's not as long as a Fender Precision or a jazz bass. It's a little bit shorter scale. And I sort of liked a little bit shorter scale. So that's why I ended up buying a Mustang bass.
Okay. So going back to when you were, all these instruments, you were self-taught. Like Wardell is a jazz trained drummer. I also play guitar. I was self-taught. But years later, I started when I was 12 as well. But years later, it was only years later that I realized I was self-taught and I was okay, but I picked up a lot of bad habits along the way. How did you look upon how you were and who influenced you? I know you said that the Silvers, the Jacksons, and is it the Little John family or somebody?
Well,
Influenced you? When
we
did you learn
influ-
to play properly?
me and my brother. I have a brother Dallas that's 4 years behind
Yeah,
me. So I taught him how to play guitar. And then there were some guys in the neighborhood that helped school him. So we were able to pick up and play as I'm 12, so Dallas is 8, 12 and 13. He's 4 years behind me. We're able to pick up and play songs like I Feel Good by James Brown, Cold Sweat, Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, Sitting at the Dock of the Bay. We learned all of those songs. And so my dad, he was a mason. And so when his lodge buddies would come over to the house, he would say, Lamar, you and your brother get your guitars and come up here and play for my buddies. So we would play for his friends, and we got the encouragement from them. Oh, you guys sound pretty good. You guys, should do something together. So eventually, of course, you had the Silvers, and then you had the Five Stair Steps, and then you had the Jacksons. So when the Jackson 5 came out, that's when it became a little serious, like, hey, maybe we should try to do something, as a unit, as a family unit. So
family, yeah.
although me and my brother didn't play together initially, later on in around 75, we got together. And from 75 until I left LA to go to LA in 83, we always played in bands together.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, how do you define what was going on? Something was in the air in Dayton, Ohio back in the day. If you could bottle that, and you'd make a fortune. Was it really, was the vibe in Dayton, was it that strong? I mean, like, I think you've said yourself that you could walk down any street and hear a band playing. Was it really that prolific? Was it really that's kind of a vibe that everybody wanted to play music?
Right. And for, I've told people in other interviews, for every band, and it's about 15 to 20 bands that got national recording deals from Dayton.
Yes, of course.
Because some of the guys left, like Junie left the Players and got their own deal, but they was on a national label,
Yes.
Kerry Rutledge, when he left Platypus, he got a deal, so several guys got their own deal. So it's about 20 national groups that were on national labels. But for all of those groups, each one of those groups, you had another 2 or 3 groups that were just as good. They just didn't get a deal.
Yes,
they were just as good. So that it was just the talent of the musicianship there. And then you have what I call the Southwest Ohio connection from Dayton to Hamilton to Cincinnati. So Cincinnati is really key because that's where James Brown recorded at King Records in Cincinnati.
Okay.
And it seemed like when we were teenagers, every 3 or 4 weeks, James Brown would have a new record out.
Yes.
And that's because I didn't know at the time that King Records had a record. The plant was right next to the studio. So after they recorded the music, they just went right next door and they had the records manufactured and ready to ship in a matter of days. And then the record was out, So, and so that's where, to me, that's where it sort of started with James Brown in Cincinnati. Of course, that brings you to Bootsy and his brother Catfish Collins, because they were in Cincinnati and James let Bootsy come in one time to sub and play. So he knew that Bootsy and his brother could play. But also what was key about Cincinnati was the Playboy Club. You had a Playboy Club in Cincinnati. So when George Benson and Herbie Mann and all these jazz guys back then, they would go to Cincinnati, maybe Philly or whatever. Cincinnati was part of that club, of that route. So because Dayton was an hour away, people would hear about concerts in Dayton, and some of those guys would come up to Dayton to see some of the groups that are playing in Dayton.
What about the Diamond Club?
Like the Diamond Club.
Yeah.
And another place was the Lakeview Palladium.
Oh, okay.
Another place was Memorial Hall. James Brown used to go to Memorial Hall. He would play 3 nights and do 2 shows a night. So
Really?
yes,
Wow.
so it not only did we as kids had places to play, but as older people, there were nice clubs and nice venues to also play at. So Dayton back then was just a real lively city. Cincinnati and Dayton both, they were manufacturing cities. They had car plants there, so people could have good jobs. And with the black middle class, the parents could buy their kids equipment, and then they could buy station wagons and small trucks or whatever, so that they could take their equipment around, so that they could play at the park or play at the recreation center or wherever. So it was just, the economy was right, and it was just the right time. And what's amazing for us, people who leave Dayton and go live somewhere else, the way people look at Dayton is like, oh, they'll see, on Facebook that I've had a conversation with Mark Wood or Steve Arrington or Norman Beavers or whatever, and they'll say, you know Steve Arrington? I say, yeah. I grew up with Steve Arrington. We played Little League baseball together. Oh, you know Mark Wood? Yeah, I know Mark Wood. He went to my church, Mount Eden Baptist Church. I knew Mark was a great singer when he was 12 years old. He was in the young adult choir. They would have him come upstairs to sing at the main service because he was that good of a singer at 12 when he was that young. So what I'm saying is, we knew these guys as regular people. We played football with them, Little League baseball. We went to church with them, played basketball with them, or what have you. And we didn't know the level of talent that was in Dayton and Cincinnati and Columbus. Bands was just all over back then. So when we get to LA, that's when we find out how people looked upon the city as like, man, Dayton, the funk, all those groups came out of Dayton. And the one thing that I'm going to say really, really encouraged us was the fact that the Ohio players never left Dayton. After Skin Tight, let's say the Ohio players, they hit it big with Skin Tight because they had put out 4 albums before Skin Tight.
Yes.
But if they had, after Skin Tight, just imagine if they had left Dayton and say, we're moving to Chicago because that's where we record at. That would have been a different story to the groups there. But they didn't leave. They stayed there. So they started buying, when the money started coming in, they started buying all those new cars, all those sports cars, and that let other groups know that, hey, if you apply yourself and start writing your own lyrics and your own material, you can do what they do. So that's where Fazo comes in at. The players sponsored Fazo and signed him to a production contract. That's where Slave comes in. Slave, they started putting stuff together, and Pee Wee's a relative of Pee Wee was Steve Washington. He came to live in Dayton for a little bit because Pee Wee had got in an accident and he couldn't play because his teeth was messed up. So little Steve went on the road with the Ohio players. And he played trumpet with them, and he decided to put a group together in Dayton, even though he was from New Jersey. And then, of course, you had Sun, and then you had Roger Chapman and, Platypus and some of the other groups. But they were just all there in the know. The one thing I'm going to say about Dayton, Ohio, out of all those groups, none of those groups sound the same. They all had their own different sound. Just like with Solar. Solar, you had the different groups on Solar. Dynasty had a sound. Shalimar had a sound. Lakeside had a sound. They all had their own sound. And that's how it was in Dayton. Everybody had their own sound.
Would there been so many acts in Dayton in those times, and you say that they all had the same sound? Who do you remember for you stood out at that time?
There was a group called Smoke, Heat, and Fire. and Steve Shockley played with them for a little bit when he was about 14. And their bass player was a guy named Steve Neal. He was a left-handed bass player. He was actually my mentor. I sort of followed his lead, and he sort of schooled me. One day, me and another friend went over to his house, and back then, you know, we had the 45 records. And he told me and my other friend, Cornelius Woodall, he said, pick any record out of my stack of records. I bet you I can play them. And we probably called out 15, 20 records, and he knew them all. And he said, let that be a lesson for you. He said, go home and learn your records. So that's how I learned how to play the different styles and the different scales and whatnot, because I learned as many records as I could. Now, my dad, he was a jazz buff, so he had like George Benson and the Platters and Herbie Mann and Cannonball Adderley and people like that. But he had a nice stereo system that he had built, like a Pioneer system or whatever. I'm not going to play his records and try to learn them. So he bought me like a little 45 thing where you can just only play 45. So that was really what got me motivated to learn as many records as possible. And I remember a few years ago, I went to go see Lakeside at San Diego, and they did a show, and I went to the sound check. And at that sound check, Steve Shockley was playing these old school songs from like the mid 60s and early 70s, like The Horse by Cliff Nobles. He was playing Betty Wright's song, Mr. Big Stuff, and some other songs. And I asked him later, I said, hey, why was I liked all those songs that you were playing. And he said he plays those different songs so that he can hear what the amp settings are, so that he can adjust the tone on his amp. Wow. So if he got his pedals hooked up, he'll play an Isley Brothers song so that he can get like an Ernie Isley type solo sound or whatever. And then, but he plays certain songs doing, this is why he's setting up and wait for everybody else to get set up. He's playing all these songs so that he can listen to, get the right sound to come out of his amp, before it goes to the house.
So that really is what you call an ear for music.
Right.
And I think, Waddell, wouldn't you say that was what Leon was like, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This genius ear.
I would like to play, one of these songs that we have here from Webster. Something switch. What is
Swing
that?
shift.
Swing shift. Okay. And so, Webster, is that okay if we do that?
Yeah.
You want to tell us about this song a little bit?
What's the name of it again?
Swing shift.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a song that I did a few years ago. And when I was learning how to, put loops and stuff together. And so on that particular song, I'm playing the synth bass and I'm playing one of the keys. And then I had a friend of mine play live guitar on it. And he's the one that's taking the guitar solo. And that was my first time using somebody else to play. So when he sent me the track, it was sort of weird because it's only playing out of the left pan. I couldn't get it to play like straight up, or I couldn't move it to the right. It was just on the left side for some reason. So I had to turn it up just a little bit so that you could really hear what he was doing. But that was his first time sending me something. And that was my first time actually working with somebody else by importing their stem into something that I'm doing. Okay. And then my cousin, he heard some of my music and he said, is it okay if I put some video to some of your music? So that was one of the videos that he did for me.
It's a great video.
Right.
I love the video.
All right, well, let's take a quick listen. I'll let y'all chop it up on the other side.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember what the name of that title song was. So, but yeah, I called it Swing Shift.
Yeah, yeah. Great song, great video. I'll post the video on the on our page.
Okay.
But what kind of music do you consider that?
You know what? I don't even know. But when I first started working with doing songs, I started working with a lot of loops because I found out that when you try to write a song for a regular song, that's one thing. But when you try to write stuff for TV shows and movies and so on, that's a different process. So you got to get to your main point and get to your hook, and then you got to get in and out sometimes. Once I started really getting into it, I think that song was like maybe not even 2 minutes, like maybe a minute and 50 seconds. I was trying to get like between 90 and 2 minutes at the most. And then what got me into actually stretching some songs out, some people would say, "Oh, I like that track. You need to stretch that out to a full song." So to me, it's one process to write a song to be on the radio or whatever, or for an album, but it's another process to write a song to be for a placement. Because sometimes they only need to be 30 to 60 seconds or definitely less than 2 minutes.
Mm. So going back to when you bought the when you finally bought your first bass when you were 20, what happened then?
Well, once I got the bass, then I started playing with different groups in Dayton. That was in 73. And then in two years later in 75, that's when me and my brother hooked up and we played in a jazz group. And so we played at this club called the 19th Hole. And we were doing a lot of jazz stuff. And then we, of course, around 75, 76, you know, Mr. Magic was out, George Benson was out, Billy Preston was out, then the Brothers Johnson came out. So we wanted to play a little bit more dance music. So we left that group and we started the group that called Cypress. And Cypress eventually became Record Players. So that's when we decided to do our own group. Yeah. So that was in 75. 75 to 77, we were Cypress. And then in 77, we changed the name from Cypress to Record Player. And then so from 77 to 83, we were Record Player.
They were the same guys in the band were from
Basically, yeah. Okay. For the most part. We changed drummers in between there for a little bit. Yeah. But for the most part, yeah. We had another guy named Delbert Jones who played guitar. Delbert Jones, his brother is Lloyd Jones. He was the bass player for Platypus.
Oh, okay, right.
So Lloyd's brother Delbert played with my group.
So how did you, back in the day, how would a group like yours in Dayton, and of course there were many of you, how would you go about promoting yourself and getting gigs, and what about all that?
Well, I got two buddies waiting in the room. They might come in if you could bring them in to help out on some of the things. But I know one of the things that my group did, we were printing up flyers and just put them at people's cars at baseball games or football games or whatever. And, because there wasn't no internet back then, so it was basically just word of mouth, calling people on the phone. And then every once in a while, if you got lucky, you might be able to get in on a radio spot.
Okay. What about the talent shows then? How did groups get involved in talent shows? And who ran these talent shows? Where did the money come from to put on talent shows?
It depends on the school. I know at the school that I went to, Rolfe High School, the Fine Arts Club, they would do a talent show, and then you would have another department. They'd have a budget to set aside to put in money for the prize money and whatnot. But back then, we had a lot of high schools in Dayton. So you had Rolfe High School, Roosevelt, Meadowdale, Colonel White, Dunbar. All those schools had Fairview. They all had their own talent shows. So it's just about every month somebody was having a talent show in Dayton. And in the city.
Yeah. So it was quite often when these talent shows
right.
happened.
Right,
So
right. It was
so
quite often, and then sometimes you had groups coming up from Cincinnati, you know, and at the Lake Loop Palladium, they would have like a battle of the bands. So sometimes you'd have a
oh,
group or two come from Cincinnati or from Columbus,
okay.
and sometimes we would go, you know, to there once you hear about it, you know, because sometimes the radio would say there's going to be a battle of the bands in Columbus at such and such a place, and oh, so you'd have to find out who, you know. Back then, I'm trying to think. Uh, it was basically word of mouth because, I mean, maybe you would record on a cassette and drop a cassette off at somebody if you at rehearsal,
Oh,
you
okay.
know,
Yeah.
because you know this is way before it wasn't no CDs and
Yeah.
no MP3s. No,
Yeah.
you had to just go on the road and sort of promote yourself.
Of course. Yeah. So you were real proper independent artists before the term came about. Right.
Right.
So was there really much rivalry between Dayton and Cincinnati? Because it sounds like there was some sort of maybe a healthy rivalry, but was there a rivalry?
Yeah, I'd say it was a healthy rivalry. I don't remember the names of some of the other groups, but one of the groups from Cincinnati that I remember was a group called TNT Powerhouse, and
Okay.
they eventually moved to Dayton, and they rehearsed in Dayton, even though most of them lived in Cincinnati. And Roger Troutman's group were called Roger and the Human Body for years, and
Yeah, of
they were
course.
living in Hamilton, Ohio, and then eventually they came up to Dayton and set up shop in Dayton. And then when they got their record deal, they changed from Roger and the Human Body to Zap.
Nice.
So
Okay.
you know, and Cincinnati, they had recording studios down there too. They had Counterpart Recording Studio, and they had Fifth Floor Recording Studios. So some of the groups from Dayton would go down to Cincinnati to do their initial demos and recordings down there. You know,
Okay.
now my
Yeah.
group, we drove all the way to Columbus. We did our initial demos at the Cyber Techniques in Dayton, but our other demos we did at Kings Mills Recording in Columbus.
Okay. And how aware were you at the time of Dana Meyer's group, Four Corners? Did you see them live, or
Yes,
were they active on the scene?
yes, they were playing at different places in Dayton, and I I knew Dana. Dana sang with a couple of groups, but when he got out of high school, there was a group called the Bad Bunch, and Otis Stokes was in that group at the time.
Okay.
And the Bad Bunch is a group that has a long legacy history in Dayton, and Tommy Shelby was a member at one time of that group. So they had people
Okay.
coming and going over the years, and Dana subbed with them for a little bit, and because they had a car accident, and one of the guys, you know, got hurt really bad, and
Oh,
so I knew that Danny could sing, and then when he got with the
yeah.
Four Corners, when I saw them a couple of times, you know, Floyd and Arthur Stokes and Dana, and Kerry came from the other group, the Bad Bunch. Kerry was with the Bad Bunch, and that's where Dana and Kerry met each other, and so I believe Dana recommended Kerry when they got ready to go to L.A. They needed another singer, and Dana recommended Kerry to come and audition for the Four Corners, and that's how they all got together before they
Oh,
left to go to California.
right. So at the time when Dana was in Dayton with the Four Corners, were people aware of were they aware of Dana's writing skills, or was it singing, or was it playing?
I think he's mostly singing. I saw an interview that he did, and he really didn't get into the writing thing until, but the group, the Four Corners, they met somebody who knew a Motown producer named Hal Davis, So they met him in Dayton before they left. I think he was in Cincinnati when they met him. I'm not for sure. But anyway, he was down in Dayton for something, and that's where they met him at. So eventually they wrote a song, and that song ended up on Michael Jackson's solo album on the Ben,
really?
on the movie Ben, on the soundtrack
okay.
of the movie Ben.
Wow.
They wrote a song
Okay.
for Michael Jackson. So when they got that royalty check from that, that's
Yeah.
I think that was the money that they used to say, well, let's go to
Ah.
California, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they I think they were learning how to write then. You know, that was the beginning stages for them.
Right. Okay. And the royalty check helped.
Right. Now Curdy Stanford, I
Yeah.
believe Curdy's in the room. If Curdy
Okay.
Curdy was their drummer with the
I
Four
don't know where
Corners.
Wardell's gone.
Yeah. So if Wardell can come back and bring Curdy, and there's another guy named
Wardell, where
Brian.
are you?
Yeah, there's another guy named Brian Tim's that's waiting
Oh,
too.
I think we're here now. We're back. now.
Okay. Yeah, so if he can bring in Brian and
There's
Curdy,
nobody here.
there's nobody there.
Yep.
No.
But Curdy just
Oh.
told me he was there. They must have. Let me check and
Must
see.
have backed out.
Unless they're in the wrong, they're not in the right one.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if they still there.
It's another room.
But anyway, I think I remember going over to see Dana in '84 when he was living in an apartment in Hollywood. And when I went over there, I was impressed because Dana was playing keys. He was laying guitar down on a sequencer. And of course it was his vocals. And I didn't know that he could play instruments. I just thought he was just a singer. But that's when I found out that Dana could actually play keys because he was playing a sampler and he was sampling some horns on stuff. And then he laid down the guitar part. Then he did something else. Now, of course, in '84, he had done the Solar thing already from '78 to up to that time. So,
Yes.
but I didn't know that he knew how to play any instruments. I thought he was just a singer, you know, and a songwriter. So that's when I said, wow, he's really applied himself, you know, to learn how to play instruments, because I'm sure that helped with his songwriting.
Of course.
I'm trying to find your friend, but I don't see anybody.
All right, hold on. Let me they might have gave up because there was two of them I had there. I saw them earlier.
Yeah, it's just us three.
Okay. All right, well that's cool. Yeah, I was supposed to get him on the last one, and I forgot him, you know, because I was having problems, and
Right.
I had my
we can
dog.
chat away. We're fine.
Yeah, I had my dog in here, and he started barking at people and stuff, so I had to put him up, you know, so he wouldn't be, you know, making all kind of noise.
You
So
could have
Greg-
brought your dog on.
Yeah.
What?
You
So,
like
Greg,
animals.
what else you have to? Anything else you got, Greg, for us?
Yeah, so I know, Lamar, that you've talked about. I don't know how far you've got with this, but I know you've talked about when you're working on some sort of documentary about Dayton and black music and black culture. Weren't you working on something a while ago? And have
Yeah.
you made any progress with that?
Well, I'm in the process of writing my own book about it, and
Right.
but I did 6 shows at a nightclub in Dayton called Jilly's, and at that event, I would do like a seminar, and I would talk about not only the groups that got record deals, but I would talk about the groups that didn't get record deals, you know,
Yes, of
because I would
course.
just,
Yes.
I was talking about the fantastic musicians that were in those
Yes.
groups and whatnot. So I became known as a historian of sorts, you know, because I, you know, not only did I do research on the guys that I didn't know about, but I knew about a lot of the groups. You know, I played with some of them. My brother played with some of them. And I have 2 younger brothers that live in Atlanta. Both of them play bass guitar. My other brother plays electric guitar, but he can play bass too. So, you know, it was just a thing where I would speak about, and you know, the different groups and the different people and the different musicians, and just like the group Slave.
Yes.
Slave had a guitar player named Mark Hicks. He called himself Drac. And unknown to a lot of people outside of Dayton, Drac had an older brother named Michael Hicks. And Michael Hicks could play circles around Drac. But Drac is the one that you know because he was on the album with Slave.
Yes.
And that's what I meant when I said for every group that you know or every musician
of
that you
course.
heard about, there was some other cast that was either just as good or better, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you know, back in the day as well, when you were all trying to make a name for yourself, was it demoralizing when at the points where you have to accept that you're not going to get notoriety necessarily because you're great at what you do, but you also need the lucky breaks? How was everybody responding to that?
Well, for my group, I was the band leader for my group. I think I had told Wardell this, that when they were doing their thing in 79 and 80, and the beat goes on and It's a Love Thing and whatnot, I used to go down to a store called Wilkie's Bookstore, and I would buy Billboard magazine and Cashbox. I look at the top 10 on the R&B charts, and me and my band would sit and we would discuss those songs that were in the top 10. You know, how did the drums sound? How did the change sound? You know, what were the components that they had in those songs? And then when we started trying to write, we would try to write remembering those components that they had in those songs that made it to the top 10 list. And
Yes.
at that time, a lot of them were Solar songs. A lot of them were from the
Right.
Solar catalog. Yeah, they looks like they both got off. That's what I was just checking.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so and then eventually our guitar player, one of our guitar players, Delbert, he bought a reel-to-reel 4-track machine.
Delbert
And-
Taylor.
And yeah, Delbert Jones.
Jones. Okay.
Yeah, Delbert Jones. Yeah, he bought a reel-to-reel 4-track machine, and that's how we started recording our demos. And that was the
okay.
machine that I used to record the demo for that song that ended up on the group Reel to Reel.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
right,
because,
okay.
yeah, because I engineered that session that day. You know, I did my part, and you know, I recorded the keyboard player and myself and the drummer playing at the same time, and then I went back, and the keyboard player, he went back and did some other stuff, and then they did vocals, the background vocals. I did all that right there. We used to rehearse at a church called St. James Church, and it was right across the street from the major radio station in Dayton, which was WDAO FM. So we used to
Okay.
practice right there across the street from the radio station.
Yeah. So look, coming back to today, how do you see the music scene, the underground music scene, I suppose you'd call it, in Dayton now? Has that energy died, or do you think that energy is still alive and well?
Every time I go back home, I try to go to a show here and there. There's still quite a few bands that are still performing there. So they just don't have as many places to play like we used to when I was coming up,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's still a lot of bands there. I would say you mentioned something about, you know, about it being depressing. I would say we weren't really depressed about not getting a deal like some of the other groups, or because we felt the more groups that got signed, we looked at it as a win for the city, you know.
Oh, okay. That's
And we
healthy.
looked at it as just keep perfecting your craft and it'll
Yeah,
happen.
of course.
Now,
And hope the break comes.
Right.
Yeah.
right. Now, the other part with that was we eventually got management, and the manager had an attorney. And so we turned down like 3 record deals because they couldn't come to terms on, and so our attorney's like, I wouldn't sign this if I was you guys, and they made counter offers, they made an offer, our attorney made an offer, they made another offer, our attorney made another counter offer. Then, after 3 offers, if ain't nothing, nobody's moving closer to some kind of agreement on, how much they want to take for your publishing and, the whole 9, then, you just walk away from the deal. So we walked away from 3 major deals while we were there. In 1970, in 1977, we submitted our demo to Arista Records. And at that time, we had a song called Nursery Rhymes that was part of our package. And then later on, Ray Parker Jr. comes out with a song called Jack and Jill. And he had a group called Ray Parker Jr. and Radio.
Yes, of course, Radio. Yes, of course.
So you got Radio and Jack and Jill, and then you got Record Player and Nursery Rhymes on the side, from Arista Records. And we was like, okay, that's sort of too much coincidental, but okay, yeah. But so we were, and we ended up sending them. And we thought we were real close to having a deal because we sent them like 4 songs. Then they said, send us some more. We sent them another 4. Then they said, okay, the A&R guy there, his name was Vernon Gibbs. He said, we want you guys to get with a singer from, I think he was from Lima, Ohio, or either Warren, Ohio. So we said, okay, cool. So he came down. And we auditioned him, and he sang, and he was okay, but he wasn't really that good of a singer to us.
Okay.
But what we had, we had a meeting, and we said because we had a lead singer, and we said, well, look, we're going to put you on congas and let this guy come into the group, and then once we get the deal, then we can get rid of him, and then you can go back to being the lead singer. So, but it never went anywhere, and we don't know why. To this day, we don't know why that happened, But yeah, we had a chance to get that deal, and then a couple years later, in 79 and 80, we had a chance to get another deal, and that fell through. Now in 78. Charles Carter, who was playing with Slave, him and his brother used to play in my group too. Sam Carter and Charles Carter. They both ended up on the Slave album, on the Showtime album, and then they left Slave and left with Steve Arrington's Hall of Fame.
Yes.
So every time Charles would come in town, he would still play with my group at our little gigs that we were doing as record player, and so we were caught in a dilemma. So we wanted to move to LA in 82, but some of the guys quit the group because they didn't want to take the chance to go to LA and not know what was going to happen. So once we retoured and got the group to the guys that were ready to leave to go to LA, well, the guys in Slave, Steve Arrington, Charles Carter, and Sam Carter, they were recording the Hall of Fame album. So CDL was like, y'all shouldn't go to LA, just stay in Dayton. Once Steve gets his album, blah, 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 blah. And then the other guys in the group, our keyboard player at the time was a guy named Ron Nooks. He was friends with Shelby, with the Shelby brothers.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, well, man, Shelby didn't want us to come to LA. So we had a dilemma. And so we finally took a vote. I voted to stay in Dayton, and somebody else voted to stay in Dayton. The other 3 or 4 guys, they voted, we want to go to LA. So that's how we ended up going to LA. But initially I wanted to stay in Dayton because we wanted to see if Steve Arrington and them could help us, stay where we were at, in Dayton. And see if they could help us, but the guys got impatient and they was ready to leave. So that's how we ended up. That's how we ended up in LA.
Okay. So I have one last question for you. I know you've seen Prince live a few times. but how did you manage to miss James Brown?
It's because I got in trouble, and James Brown was at Memorial Hall, and I was supposed to go, and my dad said I couldn't go. So my
He said you
brother,
couldn't go.
he said I couldn't go because I was on punishment for something, you know.
Oh, okay.
You know
right.
how it is
Oh,
when you're
that's
a
good.
kid, you knucklehead, you did something, you know, wasn't supposed to do. So he knew that would hurt me. So he's like, you're not
Oh, that was a
gonna
big
do it."
punishment.
Yeah. So my sister and my mom and my brother Dallas went, and of course I heard about it. Oh man,
Oh,
James Brown, this, oh, he did this. So I was like, oh no,
oh,
yeah,
that's cruel.
yeah. So I never saw James Brown. I never saw him live.
What a
Only
shame.
saw him on TV. You know, Ed Sullivan Show, the Mike Douglas Show. You know,
Yeah,
shows
yeah.
like that back then. But I made sure that I saw Prince when he came to Dayton. First time he came to Dayton, I think it was in 79 or 80. He was with Rick James. He opened up for Rick James. And then the next time he came to Dayton, he came with Vanity 6 and The Time. And then he came again with them again, you know, with The Time opening up for him. And I was just really impressed by Prince and his music
Of course.
and how he did his show. And then I saw him in LA when he did like 25 shows in the month of April and March and April. When was that? I think that was in like 2010 or 2009, something like that. He did like 20 something shows at about 3 venues in LA, and the tickets were like real cheap on a couple of those shows.
Right. Okay. Oh, Prince was everybody's idol.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I want to say thank you so much, Lamar, for coming on and blessing us with your story. And Greg, thank you for, bringing this interview to us. And thanks to the listeners for supporting our shows and stuff. And this was very good. I want to, in closing, I'd like to play another one of your songs as we're going out. And this one is Nash Tune.
Yeah, that's the song. Our drummer's name was Keith Nash. And after we broke up in 83, he ended up playing with Slave later on when they changed labels and they left Atlantic Cotillion Records and they got on the Ichiban label. He was a drummer for them for a while. And anyway, he wrote that song. It's called Turned On. And I just recently redid it. So that's the read. It was originally done in like 81 or 82.
Okay. Lamar, in closing, is there anything you'd like to say to the listeners? Is it and how can they contact you? I mean, if they wanted to buy your records and stuff, how do they go about doing that?
Well, right now I'm working on a new project for the group, and everybody in the group is involved. You know, I'm still friends with all the guys that's in the group. But on Instagram, I'm at T Lamar Webster, and on Facebook, I'm at Lamar Webster on Facebook.
So when you get the record together, will you come back so that when you release it, you can tell them where to go buy it?
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, man. We appreciate you. Appreciate you too, Greg. That was a great interview. And much love to both of y'all.
All right, man.
Lamar, keep up the good work with the photography, because I'm a photographer too.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, guys. Here we go.
All right.
Turned on, you got me turned on. Baby, you got me turned on. Yeah. Turned on, you got me turned on. Baby, you got me turned on. Need somebody, time and time again. You need somebody, you need somebody. You picked me up when I was